Well, something's not right. So I've had this butterfly for a while now, and I've been really wanting to do something nice with it. I'm not too sure what species it is, but if any of you guys know, please let me know in the comments. It's got these really nice orange spots on the wings, and then smaller black ones, and then little purple dots inside of that. I'd say it's some sort of predator defense to look like eyes. So I've been having to think of how I want to display this butterfly, and I've got these really beautiful purple dried flowers that I have, and I thought it might look really nice if I had the butterfly sitting on the flowers and then the flowers sitting on a piece of burl. Now this is the offcut from the piece that I used last week when I made this cool BB-8 sphere. Before we start casting this butterfly, the first thing we need to do is prep our piece of burl. Now I'm going to do that by cutting it to shape and then stabilising it in the vac chamber. I'll be stabilising this piece of burl a little different to last week's project. This time I'll be adding some blue ink. Now I don't normally do this, but I think it might look nice to see some blue highlights in this grain pattern. Now I just need to pop this in the oven to cure. Now if you do dye your stabilising resin like that, make sure you keep it because you can reuse it. While that's in the oven curing, I'm going to get my resin ready. Now I'll be using a deep casting resin which has a low exotherm or heat generation, and that should help keep the colours in the flower and the butterfly. Okay, once this cools down, I'll stick on the flower and the butterfly. I've now got the butterfly into position in the mould, so all I have to do now is pour my resin and get it inside the pressure pot. Right guys, I want you to leave me a comment. Do you think this butterfly is going to hold its colour, or do you think it's going to turn grey? Well, it's now time to take it out of the pot, and I really hope this one worked, because it looked so beautiful before it went in. If the butterfly's lost any colour or if it's released any air, it's going to be pretty disappointing. Well, something's not right. Well guys, I don't know what to say. I think I've stuffed up. My resin after 2 days is still soft, completely soft. And unfortunately, this casting is ruined. All I can think of is that I poured B instead of A and A instead of B. And that's what caused it. And you know what? When I was putting it in, I did look at it and I thought to myself, it just didn't look right, but I kept going anyway. I really should have stopped. Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do. Get back on the horse. Let's try again. So it's now the next day, and I spent last night going back over the footage to see if I could figure out what went wrong. I checked over my ratios to make sure they were correct. I also made sure I mixed properly and it all seemed okay. Now there was one thing I noticed. When I went to put the blank inside the pressure pot, I noticed it was fairly cloudy. Now this can be normal, but for some reason it seemed more cloudy than usual. So this morning I checked on my part A and it had crystallized. Now that happens when the temperature gets too low. Now lately I have been storing my resin in a different spot to my normal place, and that's what happened. So I've just had this one sitting in a warm bath in the tub to get all that crystallization gone and mixed back together. Now I'm lucky enough to have another butterfly in my collection. This one's just as pretty as the first one and I've set it up in the same way. The only difference is I've made this one a bit bigger than the first one. So all I need to do now is get this in the mold, pour some resin, and we'll get it under pressure. Well guys, take two. Let's hope this one worked. It's looking pretty good. That turned out pretty nice. There is one thing I've noticed though. My purple flowers are now green. Well, apart from having green flowers, I think we did pretty well. Now all that's left to do is to put it on the lathe and shape it into something nice. Before we start spinning this up, if you guys liked this video so far, please consider hitting that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And if it's your first time here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every week. Well, that was a nice easy turn this week. Now all I have to do is sand it and give it a polish and we can have a closer look. Before I show you guys the reveal, let me give you a quick update on the original. Now it has gone a bit funny, that's because I had it laying down in the bin, but as you can see here, it has gone hard. Now it's not fully hard to where I could sand and buff, but it definitely has cured. Now if you look closely you can see the crystallization in the resin there, so it was never going to be a clear blank. I'm just so glad that I found the problem and we managed to fix it. So I hope you guys like this one. Let's check it out.